I was a witness. Believe me, bang. And the head's gone. Crunch, there goes the right leg. Crunch, there goes the left leg. That's what these trams have brought us to. And, obviously unable to control himself, Koroviev pecked the wall beside the mirror with his nose and began to shake with sobs. Berlioz's uncle was genuinely struck by the stranger's behavior. And they say there are no warm-hearted people in our time, he thought, feeling his own eyes beginning to itch. However, at the same time, an unpleasant little cloud came over his soul, and straightway the snake-like thought flashed in him that this warm-hearted man might perchance have registered himself in the deceased man's apartment, for such examples have been known in this life. Forgive me, were you a friend of my late Misha? He asked, wiping his dry left eye with his sleeve, and with his right eye studying the racked with grief Koroviev. But the man was sobbing so much that one could understand nothing except the repeated word crunch. Having sobbed his fill, Koroviev finally unglued himself from the wall and said, "No, I can't take any more. I'll go and swallow 300 drops of tincture of valerian." And turning his completely tear-bathed face to Poplavsky, he added, "That's trams for you." "Pardon me, but did you send me the telegram?" Maximilian Andreevich asked, painfully puzzling over who this astonishing crybaby might be. "He did," replied Koroviev, and he pointed his finger at the cat. Poplavsky goggled his eyes, assuming he had not heard right. "No, it's too much, I just can't," Koroviev went on, snuffing his nose. "When I remember, the wheel over the leg, the wheel alone weighs 300 pounds crunch." "I'll go to bed, forget myself and sleep." And here he disappeared from the hall. The cat then stirred, jumped off the chair, stood on his hind legs, front legs akimbo, opened his maw and said, "Well, so I sent the telegram." "What of it?" Maximilian Andreevich's head at once began to spin, his arms and legs went numb, he dropped the suitcase and sat down on a chair facing the cat. "I believe I asked in good Russian?" the cat said sternly. "What of it?" But Poplavsky made no reply. "Passport!" barked the cat, holding out a plump paw. Understanding nothing and seeing nothing except the two sparks burning in the cat's eyes, Poplavsky snatched the passport from his pocket like a dagger. The cat picked up a pair of glasses in thick black frames from the pier glass table, put them on his muzzle, thus acquiring a still more imposing air, and took the passport from Poplavsky's twitching hand. I wonder, am I going to faint or not? Thought Poplavsky. From far away came Korovyev's sniveling, the whole front hall filled with the smell of ether, valerian and some other nauseating vileness. What office issued this document? The cat asked, peering at the page. No answer came. The 412th, the cat said to himself, tracing with his paw on the passport, which he was holding upside down. Ah, yes, of course. I know that office, they issue passports to anybody. Whereas I, for instance, wouldn't issue one to the likes of you. Not on your life I wouldn't. I'd just take one look at your face and instantly refuse. The cat got so angry that he flung the passport on the floor. Your presence at the funeral is cancelled, the cat continued in an official voice. Kindly return to your place of residence. And he barked through the door Azazello. At his call a small man ran out to the front hall, limping, sheathed in black tights, with a knife tucked into his leather belt, red-haired, with a yellow fang and with albugo in his left eye. Poplavsky felt he could not get enough air, rose from his seat and backed away, clutching his heart. See him off, Azazello. The cat ordered and left the hall. Poplavsky, the other twanged softly, I hope everything's understood now? Poplavsky nodded. Return immediately to Kiev, Azazello went on. Sit there stiller than water, lower than grass, and don't dream of any apartments in Moscow. Clear? This small man, who drove Poplavsky to mortal terror with his fang, knife and blind eye, only came up to the economist's shoulder, but his actions were energetic, precise and efficient. First of all, he picked up the passport and handed it to Maximilian Andreevich, and the latter took the booklet with a dead hand. Then the one named Azazello picked up the suitcase with one hand, with the other flung open the door, and, taking Berlioz's uncle under the arm, led him out to the landing of the stairway. Poplavsky leaned against the wall. Without any key, Azazello opened the suitcase, took out of it a huge roast chicken with a missing leg wrapped in greasy newspaper, and placed it on the landing. Then he took out 2 pairs of underwear, a razor strop, some book and a case, and shoved it all down the stairwell with his foot, except for the chicken. The emptied suitcase went the same way. There came a crash from below and, judging by the sound of it, the lid broke off. Then the red-haired bandit grabbed the chicken by the leg, and with this whole chicken hit Poplavsky on the neck, flat, hard, and so terribly that the body of the chicken tore off and the leg remained in Azazello's hand. Everything was confusion in the Oblonsky's home, as the famous writer Leo Tolstoy correctly put it. Precisely so he might have said on this occasion. Yes, everything was confusion in Poplavsky's eyes. A long spark flew before his eyes, then gave place to some funereal snake that momentarily extinguished the May Day, and Poplavsky went hurtling down the stairs, clutching his passport in his hand. Reaching the turn, he smashed the window on the landing with his foot and sat on a step. The legless chicken went bouncing past him and fell down the stairwell. Azazello, who stayed upstairs, instantly gnawed the chicken leg Dean, stuck the bone into the side pocket of his tights, went back to the apartment, and shut the door behind him with a bang. At that moment there began to be heard from below the cautious steps of someone coming up. Having run down one more flight of stairs, Poplavsky sat on a wooden bench on the landing and caught his breath. Some tiny elderly man with an extraordinarily melancholy face, in an old-fashioned tussore silk suit and a hard straw hat with a green band, on his way upstairs, stopped beside Poplavsky,